Hello, hello, and welcome. As always, I'm really excited to be here, and I would love for you to let me know that you're here because when you're doing live streams, you don't know if anybody's watching or not unless they say their name and where they're from. So I'll check in to see who's here. I see Vicky already. Hi, Vicky. Today, we're going to be talking about how to avoid burnout in a high pressure climate, how to avoid burnout in a high pressure climate. Burnout's probably used too much, that word, um, and probably high pressure is overly used, but most of us feel some sort of stress. So that's really what I want to talk about today. And, the new reality is that most of us are in some type of high pressure climate. Now, there's the ultra high pressure climate, and that's those that are in healthcare, those in traffic control, those whose work is going to affect the lives of other people. But most of us still feel a lot of pressure because of change fatigue. Mental health issues, that's a big topic right now. A new topic is collaboration overload. We're feeling overwhelmed by getting online all the time and by having to work with others when sometimes the work feels like it could be done by ourselves. All the new terms we're hearing about quiet quitting, quiet firing, all these new fads, it's just overloading us. There's these demands of working in a hybrid environment. So I really think that today's leader needs strategies to renew energy and avoid burnout. And we need those strategies so that we can help our teammates and our employees and recognize what's going on with them. But I'll admit today's program is not just for leaders, it's for anyone who feels overwhelmed, stressed, and out of balance. So I'm going to check in real quick. I'm going to say hi to Beth from London, Ontario, Canada, Amit Joshi. Thank you for being here. From Salt Lake City, Utah, here's Tamara. And again, I see Vicky. So thank you all for being here. Again, I'll check in between each little tip. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do today. So there's 4 steps. And really, this is probably something you already know. It's going to serve as a reminder, maybe except for number 3. I think number 3 that I'm going to share today is going to be a little bit different for most people. But what you're going to get is 4 different steps. Each is going to have 2 practical strategies. So what that means is in total, there's going to be 8 strategies. And also, if you'll notice on the bottom, I have a little note that says, get the PDF. So I am going to start building my list so I can reach out to people. No secret there. But right now, I'm building a PDF on today's program. You can share it with your teammates. You can spread it around. I don't care what you do with it, but it's nice and it's being developed. It'll be finished today. But you can email me, Marlene@marlenechisholm.com, and put subject line burnout, and I will send the PDF to you before I post it on the website and have a sign-up sheet and all that. Okay. Hi there, Anna. Hi, Natalia. And Manu, thank you for being here. So we're going to get started. And I'm going to, as I always do, I give you the 4 right up front because I know that people have to work and not everybody can stay for the whole thing and you might watch it later. Hopefully this will entice you to watch the whole thing. So the 4 ways that we're going to talk about of how to avoid burnout in a high pressure climate is number 1, get your sleep. Number 2, strengthen mental fitness. Number 3, which I think is going to be the most important one for most people today, seek regulation before resolution. And number 4, something we can all work on more is setting appropriate boundaries. Okay, so the first one I'm going to jump right into on getting your sleep. I'm really surprised. We all know this. I really believe we mostly know this. And yet we fail to make sleep a priority. We put it on the back burner. But before the age of 61, which probably most people here today are younger than me, I'm 64. Before the age of 61, adults need a minimum of 7 hours of sleep each night. A minimum. I get between 7 and 8 hours of sleep each night. Good sleep. Good sleep can really make you feel refreshed. It changes your perspective. It improves your health. And I'm going to just share something that I got a couple of years ago that made me even pay more attention to my health. And it's this Aura Ring. It will tell you how much deep sleep you're getting, how much REM sleep you're getting, and you'll start to notice your own patterns. And with awareness, you can make changes that you need to make. Poor sleep. Poor sleep is compared to alcohol impairment. It's compared to being drunk, basically, if you don't get enough sleep, especially 24 hours, those that are working 24-hour shifts. That's pretty scary when you think about doctors, nurses, healthcare. That's pretty scary. When someone's working a double shift, it means that they're not making good decisions. It increases your anxiety. It raises the risk of suicidal behavior. I've noticed that for myself. If I get wound up about something or if I'm really worried, the tendency is to want to keep working on the problem, make that phone call, resolve the issue. But I find that if I can find a way to get good sleep, I have a fresh perspective when I wake up. Your brain does all this work to clear out the noise when you're sleeping. That's what the REM sleep is for. And so there's reasons why we need sleep. We do need sleep. We're physical bodies, so we have to realize that. So I'm going to give you two strategies that I think are pretty easy. And as a side note, I've coached executives before that they were just so strung out, and part of it was just poor sleep habits, just poor habits altogether. And it was so simple to see on the outside, but yet they're living in that situation. So the first one is to create a workable schedule for retiring and waking, even if you do shift work. I've done shift work before. I used to go in at 10 o'clock at night, get off work at 6 in the morning, but you still need a routine. The more often you stay on schedule, the better your sleep. The second strategy is to create a wind down routine 1 hour before retiring. This can be kind of difficult because a lot of us, we are on our phones all night long, or we keep our phones by the bed. And I suggest getting rid of the phone, putting it downstairs in another room, a different place, unless you're on some sort of emergency call with your kids or your elderly parents. Just having the phone, I read a study the other day, having the phone by your bed kind of keeps you on alert, kind of subconsciously. So you need a really good wind down routine. Lower the lights when 7, 8 o'clock at night. Unplug from electronics. Lay your clothing out for the next day so that you're not using your brain power the minute you get up. Do some light reading, some meditation, some journaling. Signal to yourself that it's time to wind down. Okay. If you're getting any good tips or you have any, please feel free to post those. I'm going to check in once again. There's David from Nigeria, Matthew, and gosh, some names I don't know how to pronounce, but from one from Indiana, Olf. Ofunke? I'm not sure, but thank you for being here. So glad that you're here. Hope you're getting value. So we just now talked about getting your sleep if you're just now joining. The second tip is about strengthening your mental fitness. You don't have to live with the mental fitness you have. You can strengthen it. It's just like working out the gym. So I want to give a little commentary on mental fitness. And I include myself in this, we get really, really lazy with our thoughts. We believe everything we think. So on those bad days, let's say you haven't gotten your sleep and you're saying to yourself, well, it's hopeless. This bad thing is going to happen. It's not going to resolve the way I want. No one cares. This always happens. I'm not enough, in some form of that, comparing yourself to others. Whatever you do that's making you not feel good is just a lazy mental habit. And the problem isn't that we think it. The problem is that we believe everything we think. And so the story that we tell ourselves, even if it's based on fact, the way that we position the story in our minds is the source of our suffering. Our story is the source of our suffering. What I tell myself, about other people, about my job, and about the situation, what I tell myself and what I believe about it is what's actually causing my suffering. And it's so difficult to actually challenge it. But I'm going to give you two strategies that's going to help you to strengthen your mental fitness. And we all need this in today's time. The first one is to simply notice your thoughts. Just notice. Carl Jung said, I love this statement. Carl Jung said, until we make the unconscious conscious, that's noticing, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So the key here is to notice your thoughts, but don't judge yourself. Become a watcher, become a witness, become a believer, not a deceiver. So just notice what's filtering through your mind. That's mindfulness. The second tip here, the second strategy is to challenge your narrative. You can't challenge your narrative if you don't notice it. So the question is that true? What else could be true? And what I found is that our brains want closure. So therefore, we make something up if we don't have the answer. We just make it up so that we can have closure. But there's this trick to kind of living in the uncertainty, and that is to say, it's just how I feel today. I don't really have all the answers. What are the choices I have in this moment? So that's what you want to do, is you want to like bring yourself back to the present moment. Be comfortable with not having all the answers yet. Write it down on your calendar if you need to worry about it tomorrow, but just give yourself that one little minute to worry about something, to think about it, notice your thoughts, then challenge your narrative. Hi there, from Brazil. Hi from Dubai, Olivia, James, and Roberto from Mexico. We've got Carolyn from Ireland. So wonderful to see people from all over the world here today. So we've talked now about getting your sleep. And then the second one is strengthening your mental fitness. And I've given you 2 tips each. Again, if you want the download, the PDF from that before I get it on the website, you can email me, Marlene at marlenechisholm.com. Take a snapshot of the screen if you want to. And I think the keyword is burnout, and I'll send you that by email today or tomorrow. Number 3, this is the one that's probably going to be new information for a lot of people. This is something I'm working on. Seek regulation before seeking resolution. So what does that mean? We talk about conflict resolution, resolving conflict, having the difficult conversation. In fact, I have a book on it, From Conflict to Courage, How to Stop Avoiding and Start Leading. But you cannot resolve conflict when you're wound up. It'll get worse. And that's why a lot of us avoid conflict. We already know we'll get wound up, and we don't want that. So what does this mean? It means you need to calm yourself down before you try to fix anything. And if you coach others, you need to make sure that they are regulated before you give feedback. Here's why. You cannot coach an unregulated person. This is so good to know. If someone's crying, if someone's angry, they simply need to be acknowledged. They need to be heard. They need space. Same thing with you. So we need to seek regulation before resolution. Here's the hard part of that. It's a paradox in a way, because when you're angry or when you want resolution, the temptation is to try to fix it now. But what you need to do is feel what you feel, whether it's bad, whether it's toxic, whether it's anger, whether it's sadness. You need to let that filter through your body, perhaps get that night's sleep, perhaps schedule a call with someone or a meeting. But you need to feel what you feel until you get to a place of neutral or a place of stability. And so I'm going to give you 2 strategies. The first one is to listen first. So you're going to listen to yourself for sure. You're going to notice, you're going to listen, you're going to take that space if you need it. That doesn't mean you're going to avoid. It means that you're going to just pay attention. You're going to listen first. You're going to seek to neutralize before you discuss. If you're with someone else and you're in the middle of a conflict, your first key is not to fight or flight, not to try to get them to understand, not to agree to appease them. It's just what I call radical listening. I do a lot of programs on radical listening. It's being able to withstand the drama of the moment to say, I want to hear more. I want to understand. I'm not sure I agree, but I can tell that you're passionate. If you can do that, you can start to create a neutral space. You can start to regulate before you try to resolve. It's very important that both people are regulated before you try to resolve a conflict. And if someone gets dysregulated, you need to take a break, reset the meeting. And it takes a little bit of time, but at least you won't make a lot of mistakes that you're going to regret. So the second tip here, the second strategy is to create space. Sometimes I think you can go to another room. You might say, you know what, it just feels stale and there's just a vibe going on. Let's all take a break. Why don't we move to the coffee shop, get some air, reset the room? My mom was in nursing care for 9 months last year, and wow, it's really difficult when someone's kind of losing their capabilities. And I would notice sometimes I would go in and she'd be in a very angry mood, and I didn't know what to do because her thinking wasn't right. And I learned this tip of resetting the room. I would say, let's just go for a quick walk, or would you go with me down to, I called it the playroom, where you work out for physical therapy. It was almost as if there was an entity in the room. And when we came back, it had left. It was clean. It was clean energy. I don't understand how that happened, but just leaving the room gave us space to reset. And that's working with someone that's getting dementia. So it works with everyone. Reset the room, create space, listen first. Okay. Someone said, Rosie said, I needed that. Regulate before I act today. Yeah, this is meant for someone, especially this tip 3. If you get nothing more than that, it's going to keep you from burning out due to conflict. Hi, Julie from Brazil. And Carolyn, I'm trying to read what everybody says. I left my job. Someone says, I left my job due to severe, I'll show this for you, you can see it too. I left my job due to severe burn. I do not regret it. I want to make sure I set myself up for success. I see that happening for you because you're looking for that. And here's Omar from Frankfurt. And I was in Frankfurt my first time overseas to Germany, and I love it. I'm studying German right now, so I'm not good at it, but I'm working at it. Hi, Ebony from Atlanta. So thank you all for being here. Really, really hope you're getting value. And I want to say this. If you are getting value or you want this to be available to look at later, just go ahead and share this on your own thread. Start conversations around it, because the more conversations we have, the better we get at it ourselves. I find that I teach what I need to learn. So if you feel that you've got some learning to do, use this as your way to create conversations by sharing it on your page. And feel free to request the PDF. So to do a review for those that are just now showing up, get your sleep. That's number 1. Strengthen your mental fitness. Number 3, we talked about seek regulation before resolution. So far, I've given you 2 strategies with each step. That gives you 6 so far. Surely you can pick one that's going to work for you. And maybe if you're leading someone else, you'll start to realize by your awareness, you know what, they need to strengthen their mental fitness. They're really negative. I want to share this PDF with them. I want to talk about this when you're coaching someone. Or you can say, have you had your sleep? You seem different. As leaders, we're not just working on ourselves, we're helping to coach other people. And that's why I love the work I do. I'm never going to get there. I'm always going to find something where I can improve and something that I've excelled at so that I can help other people. And I hope that you see your leadership role that way as well. So now we're heading into number 4, which is set appropriate boundaries. I did a paid program on setting appropriate boundaries for LinkedIn a year ago or so. And had a lot of insights from that, because I think that's another area where most of us don't have a clear understanding of what a boundary is. And so today I'm not going to be teaching that, but I'm going to give an overview of some things you can do. What you want to realize is that work can consume your entire life. That's why there's so much of this quiet quitting. That's why there's so much conversation around life balance and so on. In today's world, we're not going to have balance. We're going to have integration, and balance is different for each person. And you have to answer that question for yourself. And the same thing with relationships. Is someone infringing on your boundaries, your personal space, your downtime? If you don't understand what those are, you're going to have problems and blame it on other people, when in fact, it's you that needs to learn how to set a boundary. And that may sound harsh, but I'm saying that for myself, because the times when I've been upset and I've blamed it on someone else, it's because I didn't clarify my own boundaries. And this is really difficult if you love your friends, you love your work, and you're mission focused. I want to share something with you according to Harvard Business Review Online. It says mission focused executives, nonprofit employees, teachers, principals, nurses, physicians are some of the people are at the most risk for burnout. They are at the most risk because mission focused means we're living that mission in our work. And sometimes we don't know how to separate and rejuvenate, get our sleep and all that. I also read this. I thought this was sad and interesting. 300 to 400 US physicians take their own lives every year. Every year. That culture truly needs to change. And I don't know what kind of leadership will change that, because it is US wide. It is no sleep, exhaustion. It's all about the money. It's hard for people that are mission driven to work like that and to not feel that they're being fulfilled. So we need to understand boundaries, and within our area of control, how do we set those? I'm going to give you 2 strategies, then I'm going to check in, then I'm going to give you a review, and I'll answer any questions if I can. It goes pretty fast, so I'll try to do that. If not, I'll check in later and try to answer from the threads that are happening. So here's the strategies. Number 1, Stop rescuing. I do a lot of work around rescuing in the Karpman drama triangle. So I'm just going to say this, there's a difference between rescuing and helping. And you have to know the distinction. Generally speaking, if you've been rescuing someone, you'll feel resentment. If you're helping, you'll feel good, you'll feel gratitude, you'll feel like you were helping to support someone. And what's helping to me might be different to you. So only you can answer that. What do I do for other people that makes me resentful, and why? Is it the narrative, or is it that I'm being taken advantage of? Do I need to set a boundary? So stop rescuing. If your door has become a revolving door, you might be rescuing instead of coaching. How can you be a better coach? How can you ask questions to help people get better versus taking on their problems? That's true in your family too, and maybe especially so. Where are you overdoing your share and not allowing other people to have their own growth? Which leads to my second strategy here. And this one is the hard part. You have to allow others the discomfort of growth. I'm going to say that again. You have to allow others the discomfort of growth. If someone is upset because of your boundary, it's really okay for them to be upset. You don't need to fix their emotional response. The very reason you needed to set a boundary was because you were being taken advantage of. When it comes to setting and enforcing boundaries, I'm just going to say this, someone is going to be unhappy, but it doesn't have to be you. And if you'll notice, the places where you need to set a boundary are the places where you are unhappy with someone or some situation. You are the one that's taking the brunt of the problem. You are the one that's unhappy, and they are happy because you're taking it. So when you set a boundary, that's going to shift. Someone else is going to be unhappy, and you have to be comfortable with that idea. You have to expect others to resist your boundaries that help them grow by not taking on their discomfort. Okay. So Carolyn, thank you so much, Carolyn. Excellent strategy tips. And you did a study of conflict resolution and you wanted to be stronger, still going strong. That's wonderful. I'd love to hear your greatest tip on that because you know I've got a book on conflict. So I just want to remind you, if you want the PDF, email me, Marlene@marlenechisholm.com. It's difficult really to let you know when I'm doing things on LinkedIn because I don't have access other than just by putting it up and hopefully you see it. So if you want to get more information on things that I do, if you'll follow me and click the little bell, I didn't know this until just a few weeks ago, but if you click the bell, it'll alert you as to when I'm doing things, when I'm posting, and when I'm doing these free lives. You can share these with your employees, your team, and have conversations around it because it's free. So I'm going to do a review. The review is, number one, get your sleep. Number two, strengthen your mental fitness. Number three, seek regulation before resolution. And number four, set boundaries. If you've enjoyed this today, I thank you for joining me and for your comments. I'll go read those later. Please go ahead and share this LinkedIn Live, this office hours, to your own page. Have some comments, start a dialogue on it. If you aren't following me, click LinkedIn and click the bell, and you'll get notified when I post. If you'd like to get the PDF printed article, email me at my personal business email, Marlene@marlenechisholm.com, and you can put burnout in the subject line. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you on the next one. Usually mine are on Tuesdays, so stay tuned.